Hey guys, Heretic You here. Gonna do something a little different today. Something that been on my mind, something that is kind of a serious subject, and I just think now is the right time to talk about this, and I'm just showing off some of the what I have painted for my Hakislam at this point, just so you have something to look at while I kind of ramble. So what am I talking about? Well, I've been doing some thinking, and it's kind of why I haven't done a video in a while. I don't know if you noticed, but just thinking about the games industry, the tabletop games industry as a whole, and I've been gaming, I don't even know how long, since I was at least in the 7th, 8th grade, so I really love gaming. I love this hobby, and I want to see it grow. I want to see more people join the hobby, but I think now is we have to kind of have a conversation about how that's even possible. I think the game industry has to seriously change in order for it to become more diverse, more inclusive, and I personally have identified 5 things I think the game industry needs to change. And so this is my video. It's kind of a message to game developers out there, and kind of a message to the community on how I think, the direction I think tabletop wargaming should go in, if it's going to grow and not die out. Okay. So, number 1, I think we have to stop objectifying female characters in these games. I'll give you an example here. Let's pick one of our female characters. Probably not going to focus, but whatever. This is literally an object. We are taking females and we're turning them into objects that we control in games. And think about the message that creates. I mean, it's very, very problematic. These are just things. The women just become objects that I control in order to, at my whim, so that I can win games, potentially, or they're cannon fodder, or what have you. Particularly, this Dr. Ghulam, which I added. I was in a tournament on Saturday, and she was killed. She was brutally murdered, and because she's a doctor in Infinity, doctors are specialists, okay? And so she is one of the few models that can interact with objectives and actually score points. And so there's incentive to actually perpetrate violence against female models. There's an incentive. And on the flip side, even if she didn't die, then I would just use her to score victory points. And so really think about that message there. I mean, is that really what we want to... is that something that we want to continue as a community? Just using... And if you look at the model itself, she's She's a very attractive, in shape woman. Do we want that too? I mean, we all know that, we should be ashamed of, our sexuality. So if we're attracted to something, we need to be shamed for being attracted to something. We don't want to be reminded of that. And studies have shown that when you shame someone about their sexuality, they grow up to be a perfectly well-rounded human being. So, all right, so that's just point number one. Let's move on. I could do a whole 2 hours about that, but let's move on to point number two. And this one's a little bit harder to talk about. Point number two, I think we need to get rid of all historicals. Historicals are inherently racist. It's cultural appropriation at its worst. If you think about sculptors, artists, painters trying to accurately portray the dress and uniforms of a particular culture at a particular period in time, you're basically enforcing stereotypes, and that's just bad. So we just need to get rid of all historicals. I mean, think about it. If I was say like a Viking, and I were to walk into a game store and see that there were no other Vikings working there or playing games there, but someone is playing a Viking army, and someone's taking my culture and just turning it into a game. That's just, it's wrong. It's completely wrong, and it needs to stop. Okay. Number three, I think we need to get rid of the word war. Needs to be removed from wargaming. I mean, in the 41st millennium, does it really only have to be war? I mean, let's think about this. They can't have, meaningful discussions, right? I don't know. I mean, if you look at the top war games, you have war in the title. Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Fantasy, Dystopian Wars, Flames of War. It just sends a message that, war is okay, and war is how we solve problems in the tabletop miniature world. We can't, for once I would like to see a game company, a tabletop game company, make a game where there is no winner or loser, because in these games, anytime you play, every game that you win, your friend, your buddy across the table has lost, and vice versa. And, that just makes people feel bad. And I think that, we could get more creative if we can come up with games where there are no winners or losers. You just sort of, why fight at all? Why did all these war games have to be about war? So let's get rid of war. Let's take that out. That's number three. Number four, most of these games involve assigning value to human beings, and I think that is extremely problematic. For example, let's just take this Janissary here, and he comes with the AP rifle, close combat weapon. Okay, whatever. If I were to take this version of him with the heavy machine gun, he would actually be worth more points. I mean, they're both human beings. They they should be all worth the same, you know? Why is, like, for example, this model here with the, this is my Naphaton. Good model, by the way. I love the, she always does well in battles for me. Light flamethrower and rifle combo. You know, worth more than this, Ghulam. She's worth more than, you know, what does that say to her? I mean, as a person, you know, we're saying that your life is more valuable or your life is worth less. I mean, it's just extremely, extremely bad, and I think it's a practice that we need to stop. We need to stop doing that, because all life is sacred, and you know, if we lose one guy, one person shouldn't be, you know, worth less or more than another person. Okay, I don't care what their skills are. You know, if they're more valuable as far as, you know, skill wise or whatever. I mean, is that how we see people, as just, you know, what they can do for us? I mean, it's very, I don't know. It's just something that I think needs to change. Okay. And then finally, the last thing we have to do, I mean, because, I mean, obviously, if you look at all the changes I want to make, and I forgot to mention the first change about the objectification of women. What I mean is we need to stop sculpting women. And maybe even stop sculpting men. You know, there's some men that are too sexual. I'm looking at you, Blood Bowl, with your, you know, Norse naked men guys. You know, why sculpt people? You know, we can just sculpt objects. You know, like maybe, you know, shapes. You know, we don't need people to represent people. You know, there's some people that just don't even identify themselves as people. You know, and we have to be mindful of that. But jumping back to my point number 5 is we have to stop valuing games in terms of fun. Okay, games were not meant for fun. They're meant to teach us valuable social lessons. They're meant to raise awareness. They're not for entertainment. Studies have shown, scientific facts have shown that, you know, it's not our upbringing, it's not our teachers, it's not our parents, it's not our social, economic, you know, factors that determine us as human beings. It's really based on what games we play. Games are an incredible influence on us, and we have to stop looking at it as entertainment. You know, we have to stop looking at it as fun, and recognize it being the most important factor in our human psyche. And you know, I think, you know, a lot of you guys might be thinking that I'm kidding or whatever, but I'm not. You know, in fact, what I'm planning on doing, and the reason why I haven't done a video in a long time, is I want this. I've started a petition on change.org, and I want you guys to go over there when you get a chance and sign it. I want these changes made in the game companies. I want the game designers to know that we're not going to put up with this anymore. You know, we're not going to enable them with these you know, these sort of old world values. You know, this is a new, you know, we can't just keep doing this. You know, games need to mature, and we need to make sure that happens. So like I said, I made a petition. I'm also not ever going to shoot any more YouTube videos about gaming until this is done. So, you know, I'm on a strike, and I welcome the other YouTubers out there in the gaming community to join me and put an end to this. Don't shoot any more wargaming videos. I mean, that was tough for me, but I'm willing to do this to help our game industry in the long run. Help us grow and help us be more inclusive, like I said. Also, I have a Patreon, so those of you can visit my Patreon and donate to me, because if I'm not shooting YouTube videos, I'll be losing a little bit of that income, so I could use your support during this boycott. And guys, I just hope you stand with us, because I think if we can get the gaming companies to change, we're gonna have a lot more interesting games. We're gonna have games that teach us about life and what a metaphor is. Once you start restricting people's creativity and start kowtowing to social pressure, you always come up with the most interesting, best product when you're worried about what your audience thinks, when you're restricted by what we want you to make products for. We don't want you to create a world that you want to create. You should be creating a world that is inclusive to everyone. And so anyways, guys, I hope you join me in this fight, and I'm going to put links below to all the references I made, the scientific studies, my Patreon, which I want you to donate. Please donate to my Patreon, and the petition on change.org. So guys, stay strong. I'll see you on, hopefully, if they allow us to, if the game companies finally change, hopefully I'll see you on the next one.